Recording.
I'll be taking everyone through this webinar session. Can we all mute? Can we all agree to mute ourselves? Fantastic. Hafsat, can you kindly mute yourself, please? Okay. Maybe we just give a bit of grace till 2:05. Just allow for more people to come in.
Recording in front.
So that we don't have a lot of people missing out on the beginning of the webinar. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Hafsat. Thank you, Nonso. Thank you, Afolabi. As you just joined, you rename yourself and make sure that your name is there, your company is there. Grace, can you kindly mute yourself, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Grace. Missimi, can you kindly mute yourself? Amazing, amazing. Bolaji, kindly mute yourself. Aha. Okay, so we have it now. We have a lot of more people joining. Thank you all. One more minute, and then we'll kick off.
Huh? Okay.
It is a
Joyce, there are also some kindness things that we don't do without making, or that will make it us go one.
Okay, I think we're good to start. Jennifer, are we good?
Yes, we are.
Fantastic. Welcome everybody to the Develop Ventures program. This is a webinar to share with you some of our insights and to answer some questions that you may have surrounding the program, surrounding maybe call for application and also the criteria for eligibility to apply for the program. As you join, kindly mute yourself to allow everyone the opportunity to hear and understand what is being said. And throughout the duration of the program, what you do.
Stop. Mommy is listening to a meeting.
Please, can you mute yourself, my dear? Thank you. We're glad that we have two of you, both founder and co-founder, right, in the room. Throughout the duration of the webinar, you can feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, right? And my team will sort of bring it up. I'd like to also now hand back over to Jenny, who will begin the agenda of the day, and I will join you back when it's my turn to continue. Thank you so much, everybody. Jenny, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Tracy, for so we'll be going straight to the overview of the program, and I'll be handing over to Ayo would be giving us an introduction of the program. Hi.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ayabon Gretariba, and I'm representing VC4A in this conversation. VC4A is an ESO, entrepreneurship support organization, and we're implementing partners for the develop ventures. And this is actually a grant awarding and contract where we give 100K technical support to founders that qualify through the process. And we're excited working on this journey with our partners like Ventures Park, who are organizing this webinar to inform you and get you updated on all important mandate processes and also documentations to be submitted for you to be eligible and also qualify to access this counterpart funding grants. Thank you so much, and I would hand it over to Tracy to take the process forward. It's a pleasure to be here, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Ayo, for that wonderful introduction. Like I said, and if you're just joining the call, my name is Tracy Okoro Isaac, and I am the CEO of Ventures Park, the implementing partner for the program alongside VC4A, but here in Nigeria, right? And so I'm going ahead to begin my presentation to talk to you about the Develop Ventures program and walk you through a few processes and things that you need to know around the minimum requirements for application. And then we'll be able to take some questions. Do note that this is the third cohort. So we've had the first and the second cohort, right? And so we've also sort of compiled questions from the first and the second cohort, and we'll also share that. Like I said earlier, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. We will collate it and we'll take it. And when it is time for the question and answer session, would either yield to you to speak or we can just read out your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Hi, Tracy. If you're talking, you're muted.
Oh, wow. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let me just go back here. Like I said, we'll be walking through this content, introduction to the Develop Ventures program, walk you through the minimum requirements for as a company, what you need minimally to be able to apply, what the practical examples of the kind of companies that the Develop Ventures supports, what the program cycle entails. Also, we will run you through some frequently asked questions that we have sort of compiled over the past two cohorts. And then we will share contacts just in case you do have any more questions or concerns. But I do hope that this webinar will be very simple and straight to the point, and then you understand what you need to understand. But feel free throughout the application process to please reach out and say and share with us whatever that challenge or blocker is, and we will be willing and excited to help out. And then after that, we will go into the question and answer session where you can either choose to turn on your mic and speak and ask your questions, or and just immediately put down the question in the chat box, and we will collate and read out and then answer. To answer the question, you would have people from my team and also people from VC4A or GIZ speaking to the answers, right? If the mics, kindly, Jennifer, kindly walk through and help to mute mic. So the develop program. The Develop Ventures program is supporting young companies that are already active in a developing or emerging economy like ours, like Nigeria, and whose business model contributes to sustainable, local, economic, ecological, and social development. The aim is to scale innovative solutions in order to make them accessible to more people, which means that you must be building a solution. It means that you must be building a solution or offering a service, right, that is innovative in nature, but it's also making the lives of individuals, right, in this emerging economy, which is Nigeria, that is making the lives of the Nigerians better, improving the quality of life of Nigerians. And the aim of this Develop Ventures program is to be able to scale these solutions, right? So it's important that you must have already gone through your startup phase, right? So you build the product, built your service, and people have already started utilizing the product or service, and they've started to pay you for it. Proof of concept must already have been achieved and your first revenues generated. The program is not going to be funding the startup phase. That means the place where you're trying to still check the proof of concept for your product or your service. Okay, now more on the Develop Ventures program. Can we all mute our microphones, please? Essence is so that we can hear ourselves. Thank you so much for that. So the Develop Ventures program supports the scaling of suitable business models with a grant of 100,000 euros if your company manages to acquire matching funds from other sources of at least the same amount. Now, remember that you can write down anything that, while I'm speaking, that you feel like, oh, it's a bit confusing, you want me to go back and explain it, I will go back and explain it. But your startup should have matching funds. You should have managed to acquire matching funds from other sources of at least the same amount, right? But apart from the funding, the 100,000 euros that will be given to you when you make it through to the stage where you get funded, you would have additional technical support. So you would get local technical support from experts, right, around that business area that you want to scale or that you want to be able to put the funding to. Now, particularly encouraging women-led startups, right, to apply. We're also encouraging startups that are promoting gender equality to also apply. It's important to note that this program is available in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Tanzania, and in Rwanda, and more countries will follow, but these are countries that this cohort is currently going through, right? So you can know that it's not just you, you also have counterparts in these countries that are also applying, and they're also trying to scale their solutions. And this program is a good opportunity for you to be able to do that. Now we move into the minimum requirement. This means that this is a must-have. Like, bad as it bad, this is what you need to have to be able to go in to start your application, right? So before you can start that application to be able to apply for that support, right? The company must be registered in Nigeria, right? Must be registered in Nigeria. So which means you have your CAC documents, everything that shows that you're a fully registered company in Nigeria. Then the company has to be privately owned and profit-oriented. Privately owned and profit-oriented, because it's a full business. So this is not a conversation, oh, that you're an NGO, that you're pushing social change. It has to be privately owned and profit-oriented. Now, I know that it goes to say that for you to have had a product that people like and you've done your proof of concept to a point where you started generating your first revenues and people are buying and all that, right? You must have created your business and financial plan. But to go a step further, when you're applying, you need to have a sound business and financial plan. So this might be an opportunity for you to sort of work with, your hubs or experts around you to look through your business and your financial plan to just make sure that everything is good, everything is sound, that whenever the person who's reading it can go through it and understand it and see the potential, right, of your business and see the scalability of your business. Now, also, you need to have your first annual financial statement, right? You need to be able to have that. Also, you need to have your matching fund. In the conversation of matching fund, it means that you need to have raised at least 100,000 euros from within 6 months till the time of application, right? So which means the application ends in June 30. It means you should have money, you should have raised from between December till that June, right? So in this 6 months, you should have raised at least 100,000 euros, but not more than 2 million euros. So if you've raised 2.00, no, you cannot apply. If you've raised 99,000 euros, no. But if you have a commitment, right? If you have a commitment from investors, right? So a short commitment from investors that has advanced, right? To show that you would be receiving this funding, right? Just up until by the time we're coming to do probably our due diligence, that money would have come in, or by the time the contract phase comes up, that money has come in. We need to see that. We need to see that that conversation has progressed, has really, really gone far. Okay. And then also we need to be able to see financial sustainability. So when you are submitting your financial statement, the rationale and justification should also show sustainability in your finances. Remember, if you have any confusion or you really don't get anything, please feel free to, drop it in the chat box and we will go through it and then put down all the different questions or the things that you really don't understand. And I will come back. That's why we're here, right? And I will come back and I will go through it. Now we will go to the next. Now this is concerning your business model. Before your business model can be considered for support, it has to show that it is a strong, innovative force in the target country, which is Nigeria. And someone might say, oh, a strong and innovative force might be subjective. Some people might feel that it's strong. Some people might not feel that it's strong. Well, you have to show it, right? You have to show us why you think that your business is strong and an innovative force in the target country. It must be that it might not necessarily be totally disrupting the industry, but you have to show why that your business model is scalable, right? And it's going to change the quality of lives of the people who are going to be using that service or that product for the good, right? Like I said, it must have good prospects of scaling up. We need to see your scaling strategy and make sure that that actually works and that there is huge potential there. Then also your business model, right, should be contributing to attaining the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are the SDGs. So whether you're solving in any vertical, this could either be in the fintech, your, the ed tech, education, it could be agri, it could be renewable energy, it could be in manufacturing, right? The verticals are a lot, but it has to be contributing to the achievement of the global goals, which are the SDGs, right? Now, let me move to practical examples. I know a lot of people might be asking, so what kind of business actually are we talking about here? Because you're talking about social impact, talking about being able to attain the SDGs. So I'm going to give you two examples. So one is an example of maybe a social business that is building electrical mini grids in Western Kenya, right? So you can see how it is contributing, right, to access to energy, right? So it is helping the lives of the people in Kenya, right, by providing access to power, right? Electrical mini grids help people access power, affordable access to power, electricity and energy, right? Another business also is a business currently here in Nigeria that is providing health insurance for individuals, families, and corporates, right? So you can literally see that these people or these companies are solving their problem statement. Actually, they're solving to improve the quality of life of the people that are in the target country, which, like I said here, is Nigeria. So your company, if you choose to apply, has to be, must be solving a problem that is contributing to achieving the SDGs, but also improving the quality of life of Nigerians. Okay. Now I'm going to break it down and go through the program cycle. The reason why I'm explaining the program cycle is so that you can understand how the program moves, right? So this is from the time you submit your application, you need to understand where it goes, how it happens, and in preparation for when you scale from the different stages, what to look forward to, or what you need to know before you move to the next stage, right? So this is what that cycle looks like. The step one will be the application, right? So you go ahead and you apply from now till the 30th of June, right? You do your application, everything. After the application is finished, then there is the pre-selection process, right? Where a number will be selected. After that selection is completed, review is done, and they will now move into the pitch, right? They will be pitching to a select group of experts, right, in the ecosystem, and they would listen to you and they would sort of grade the pitching. And the people who make it through the pitching will move on to what we call the due diligence. Here in this due diligence, also experts will sort of work with the selected participants or startups to make sure that all that was submitted, everything that was put in works, look through their business model, their finance, and everything to make sure that everything is up to date and it works and is good to go. Then we proceed to the contracting phase, which is a lot of documentation, right? Where you have to now start to do sign documents, bring up some key parameters, some measures, some indicators, and so on. But there's also a lot of paperwork that you have to conclude before you move on to the funding stage, right? Remember, the window for application is started on the 15th of May and it will end on the 30th of June. This is the contact, but we will post the webinar. We will still share this in an email so that you can get the contacts of, the people that you can reach out to at any point of your application phase. During your application phase, right? You can reach out to the numbers and say, oh, please help, please help. I'm having this difficulty, I'm having this challenge, or I'm confused about something. And they will immediately come to your rescue and help out to make sure that that process is easy for you, right? So these are the people. There's Tony Bamidele and there is Jennifer Oliko. They will be the ones that will be sort of helping you throughout that process. Now, like I said earlier, we sort of put together some questions that were also asked in the past cohorts, right? And I would like to sort of run through them just to make sure that we have that full control of all the information that we can answer you at the moment. After that, we will now open the floor for more questions, and then answers will also be given, right? Please feel free also to put down your questions, like I said, in the chat box, or you can write it down. And when the time comes, you can just raise your hand and we will let you speak and you can ask your question, right? So like I said, we've moved on to the frequently asked questions. So the first one is, can a founder who has raised money, who does not have MVP, which is a minimum viable product, and currently acquires clients manually, qualify for the program? The answer is no. No, you cannot. You do not qualify for the program. Now, the second question is, does the matching fund have to come from equity? Well, the answer is equity qualifies 100%. Grants and debt can only sum up to 50%, right? The third question is, can you still apply even if you only partially meet the program's requirement? Yes. And I'm saying yes because you can apply, but then you have to make sure that by the time there's certain stages of the program where some of the requirements that you do not meet, you now need to meet them for you to move on to the next stage. And I'm going to give examples. So for example, I talked about, being able to raise funds, right? So you can say to us, oh, I'm in talks with investors and they've said to me, oh, we have an agreement that they would be able to bring in money at a time, and you have that signed agreement. Yes, you can go ahead and apply, right? And then when you get to the stage where you definitely require for us to see that money, and you need to be able to meet that criteria for you to get to that point where you now get funded, right? So yes, you can still apply even if you only partially meet the program's requirement. Is it still possible for a company that is actively seeking funding from investors to apply for the program? Like I said, yes. Companies that meet the criteria for matching funds will receive the GIZ counterpart funding. If someone applies for this cohort, will they be ineligible to apply for future cohorts of the program? No, they will not. What is the amount of the matching funds that will be awarded? 100,000 euros. Can a company still apply for the program if it has not raised 100,000 euros? Yes. But before the grant is disbursed, the counterpart funding must be secured, like I stated earlier. Does debt become eligible for the match fund? Yes, up to 50%. Then what is the range of equity you have to yield for the funds? Not above 2 million euros. Anything below 2 million euros. Now, 2 more questions. Can a founder... Okay, no. Can companies who have raised more than 2 million euros apply for the program? No. Can a grant cover the needed match funding amount? Yes. But for grants, it's about up to 50%. Can businesses apply using a bank statement rather than an audited report? No. No. You have to have an audited report. At the time of application.
Hello, Tracy.
Yes, hi, Annabelle.
Hi, so sorry for interrupt. Just a quick hi from my side. May I add maybe 2-3 aspects to what you just mentioned? Would that be okay?
Okay, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for already doing this great webinar so far. Just wanted to add 2 aspects. So one, I think it was on the earlier slide, sorry, on the first one, that with the questions. Perfect, thank you, because I think it's important to quickly mention this. So it's the question on, let's say, reapplying. So the question was, is it still possible? Where is it? If someone applies for this cohort, will they be ineligible to apply for future cohorts of this program? Just wanted to quickly add, well, let's say if they apply and if they are selected, of course, they cannot apply again, right? If
Yes.
they apply and are not selected, well, let's say if they apply and nothing has changed in the company, please do not apply again, because then the answer will be the same, right? So if someone applies and is rejected and then applies again, we really do want to see that the company has made progress, right? So that would be great to see what is the progress that's being made in terms of, I don't know, financial, sales, internal developments in the organization, and so on. So that was important, because we've seen many applicants that apply and apply again, right? But then we are asking ourselves, so what is the improvement that happened at the company? So that's also important, if these applicants can really put emphasis on this also in their application form, and really outline so what has changed and improved in the company and in the business model. And then maybe just one small remark that was on the second slide. Let me see. So that's basically on the question of the matching funds, and also the question on debt, capital, and grants. Yeah, I think it's both slides. So there were several questions around this, right? Let's say, I know sometimes it's difficult, right, to really have, let's say, a very clear definition on this, but I think we are not that strict anymore, and say it has to be maximum 50% debt or grant. So that's, let's say, the cap. I would just rather phrase it this way. It's more important that we see that other investors and equity investors are convinced by your business models. So if, I mean, of course, you're right, we would go up even further than 50%. But if we look at the companies that we have invested in so far, there is no one who has more than, I don't know if there's even one of them who has grant or debt capital as matching funds, to be honest. I think at the moment it's really companies who were able to show us that other investors are convinced by their business model and have invested, let's say, mostly quasi-equity or equity in their business model. Sorry, Tracy, for interrupting, but yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much, Annabelle. And feel free also to sort of chime in, right? Because you have more overall knowledge and information on this. Ayo, also feel free to chime in when you can, please. So, I mean, Gary, can you? Okay, thank you. Can you mute yourself, Dario? Fantastic. So someone says, can grants of 100,000, I mean, Annabelle has sort of spoken to that, right? And so maybe we would skip that. Can a hub apply for this program? Unfortunately, no. I mean, if a hub would apply for the program, we'll be looking for, there'll be a lot of hubs that probably would have, but no, this program does not, this is not for hubs. Then someone says, I want to change my business strategy. Can I still apply if my company has been actively declaring financial income for the last 2 years and fits all the conditions for the develoP Ventures program? Yes, you can. Then someone says, what is matching funds, equity, debt, or grant fund raised by the company, right? So equity, debt, or grant fund raised by the company, that's what match fund means. Then what percentage of the fund should be from grants? Well, Annabelle already sort of, worked on that one. Does software credit count as matching fund? No. Okay. What kind of companies can apply for the program, right? Companies that have innovative solutions that are improving the lives of the society or the people in the target country, which I said, like Nigeria. And this can be in any sector like agriculture, health, education, manufacturing, or renewable energy. What is the minimum and maximum amount for matching funds? Like we said, 100,000 euros minimum and 2 million euros, nothing above 2 million euros. Okay, I think that I have tried to go through some questions that, sort of frequently asked questions, but we're now going to move into the question and answer session. I would ask from, I would ask Jenny, please, do we have the questions collated?
Oh yes, so I can just be reading the questions one by one.
Okay, so maybe
So-
1 minute. If we can take live questions, then maybe we can read. What do we think?
Okay.
Ayo, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say if there are questions in the comments, if maybe Jennifer can read them out, and then I can speak to it before we also now go into asking people share their questions in real time.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So I would Jennifer, please feel free to read out the questions, and Annabelle, Ayo, I would let you sort of handle some of the questions, and maybe I can chime in where I can. Okay, Jennifer.
All right. Okay, so there's a question here from Rim. So the question is, in last cohort, the requirements regarding registration in Nigeria, it was either registered or planned to register before signing the fund contract. Is it still valid?
Ayo, do you want to take that?
So, so for us this program is only set up to fund Nigerian registered entities. For us, the way we think of Nigerian registered entities are entities that have operational registration in Nigeria. So you can either have your C Corp registered in Delaware, or you can have some of your other registration in maybe Europe or the UK, but there must be a Nigerian registration that predates your registration for the program. So that's what we mean by when you say registered in Nigeria before the contract, as we can see your question. Annabelle, do you have is that all good? Cool, thank you. So next question, please.
Okay, another question from Imam. Okay, how many companies will be accepted for the pitch, and how many companies will be given grants? Is there a limit on both?
I think I want to take this to say we are actually opening up the opportunity to as many companies as we can get. And we also have like a budget that can, as much as possible, go up to 10 companies for this cohort. But there are strict requirements that must be met, and those requirements have us go sometimes even below our allocated resources for the organizations we have to bring on board. So for as many companies that register, if you meet the requirements, I believe we are a lot more, we are looking to a lot more fund more companies than actually check out companies because of no capital or no allocation. So we have quite a good allocation for up to 10 companies. To put a number on it, for pitch competition, we also are flexible to have as many great companies that pass through the initial vetting stage pitch their business. So for us, it's once you pass the criteria, you have more chances getting there than actually being disqualified because you have more competitors. That's the way I would put it.
Okay, thank you, Ayo. So the next question here is there a limit on the amount of revenue a company should have made?
I think I should take that one. For us, the more revenue you have, actually, the better and more convincing about your commercial viability. We don't have cap on revenues. The only cap we have when it comes to numbers is the cap on the amount the company has raised to date. Every other conversation, we are a lot more open to reviewing per case. So we don't have a cap on how much has been made or what successes have looked like for you till date. But the only cap is you just must have not raised above 2 million euros.
Okay, thank you, Ayo. So there's another question from Ian Olua. The first question is the 100,000 euros available to just one applicant, or would be shared almost amongst all applicants? Number two, I understand guarantors like to fund multiple businesses. Would you say it's best to apply for just a percentage of the available fund?
Okay, I think probably there's a misquote there. And so clarity is to say every company that qualifies for this program gets 100,000 euros matching funds. So it is not 100 shared across the companies, but it is 100,000 per company. Also, we don't for clarity, we are actually looking for businesses that have either venture capital equity investments in them, or angel equity investments in them, or have raised a decent portion of debt, or have also been able to receive some form of grant across their life cycle. If you have done this and it accumulates to 100,000 euros, you qualify to get matching funds of 100,000 euros. And we don't run a system where we match it based on what you have. The ticket is 100,000 capped, no more, no less.
Okay, thank you, Ayo. Next question here from BT is, when you say young organizations, can a company over 20 years in existence apply?
Annabelle, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Well, I think Ayo will also be able to take it, but yeah, well, I can start. Let's say also, I mean, of course, the question is after 20 years, we are always, of course, raising the question of why is this company in need of develoPVentures funding, right? So when we say that we invest in young and scalable businesses, that means that we want to see innovative and scalable businesses, which are, I mean, already on the market for a certain time, but then of course also not on the market for too long, meaning why is this company already on the market for 20 years, and has this company already raised funding or not? And if not, and the company has bootstrapped so far, I mean, great. So where is the company currently standing in terms of financials? I think it's important that, as Tracy outlined very well earlier, develoPVentures is a growth funding instrument, right? So it really has to be clear and become evident from the documents also that the companies and the applicants submit, that the company is looking for growth funding and not funding that will help them to, make their financials look better, but really something that is used to scale up operations. I hope that answered the question.
I think that covered it very well, but Ayo, do you want to add anything?
I don't think in the life cycle of a company, 20 would qualify as young. So to put I think the answer is in that we are looking for startups which are young, agile, and fast-growing businesses. If you're 20, that means you're already a legacy business, or you are in advanced stages in your life cycle. So for us, we are looking for companies that are actually young, and young by definition would mean between their first to at least 5 years of operations, and then every other thing we can definitely also review per need basis.
Thank you, Ayo. Jennifer, please go ahead.
Okay, another question from Angela. Can a COO apply on behalf of the team?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, what we want is actually submission of a well-written and well-filled application. A COO can fill the form. We don't have a stringent criteria on who fills. The only criteria we have is the quality of the information that is being put in for us to properly judge the organization is of more paramount importance. As the process moves on and as the company may qualify, they will begin to review, a lot more of company relations and also company data that will require a founding member, most importantly, the CEO to be present to follow us through the process as the company moves forward. So who does the initial application? It's not the most important, but the quality of the application is highly, highly paramount. So I would advise that the CEO, if does not feel, does do at least a review of all the information being put on the application documents.
All right, thank you, Ayo. Another question from Imam OK. Does this funding provide grants for businesses in entertainment?
I would say that we are looking for commercially viable businesses. And that means, and by all means, we are sector agnostic. Sector agnostic means we don't have a preferred sector we are looking to invest capital into. But for an entertainment startup, you definitely must be able to show commercial viability and show good financial strength, which would come in your financial documentation, will come in your audited statement, and you are making a good portion of revenue to show that your value proposition and your services are well adopted by your customers. So we don't have any bias against entertainment companies so far you meet the criteria for this program.
Let's say, if I may add something to Ayo, what you just said. I mean, of course, the commercial viability and the financial sustainability of your business model is, let's say, the per default, not most important, but very important factor for our program. But then at the same time, of course, as mentioned by Tracy earlier, we also want to see how is your business model, your company contributing to the public benefit in Nigeria? Meaning, is it through, I don't know, job creation, through, are you helping people to your customers, or in our language, we would say beneficiaries, to really, I don't know, for example, help them to get access to more affordable healthcare? I mean, of course, this does not apply to entertainment, right? So the question is, what is it that you can also do to contribute, as I said, to the public benefit and impact in Nigeria? So we always have this two-sided angle. So this also has to become evident in your application form. So please make sure to also take some time to fill out this section in the application document, which also refers to this impact section. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Annabelle. Another question from Adobe. What if you have raised less or are in serious talks for less than 100,000? Do we still qualify?
I think something to note here is cumulatively what has been raised is what we are looking at. If you're raising 50,000 euros now, and in the last 6 months you've raised 50,000 euros, cumulatively that qualifies as 100,000, and that could work as matching funds. Matching funds do not mean that you are raising 100K at once. It's cumulatively within the last 6 months of operation that has to total 100. So if you're in conversations with a VC or an angel or any stakeholder, and they are actually giving you capital that could match up to 100K that you've raised in the last 6 months, I would say you qualify for the program. But if you're closing that check first and does not total 100,000, and it's the first tranche, you will still need to raise the balance of what is deficit for you to be able to qualify. So importantly is 6 months prior, but now also moving forward as you continue in the process, you just need to make sure that you have 100K that can qualify as matching funds.
All right, thank you, Ayo. So we have another question. Can a company that is 9 years old, too old to apply, bootstrapped, supports SDG, revenue, profitable?
I think the word bootstrap means that the person actually has to, again, revert to match one of the core criteria, which is raising the 100K. About years of operations, again, I would say we review per need basis. If at 9 years, you actually have a dynamic case, which often than not we don't find, definitely will be happy to engage you. But what also to notice, no process in this program gives a final verdict till the contracting stage. So at no process do you qualify from one stage to the other. Doesn't mean that you're at the final. You would only get a final ratification from the GIZ representative, which Annabelle is one. So I would say apply, but again, there is no approval on this call that because I said you should apply, that definitely means I have scaled you through the process.
All right,
Perfect.
thank you. Okay.
So I just want to reconfirm what Ayo just mentioned, and would also like to encourage this person or this company to apply to get at least, let's say, an assessment from our side, right? Because the next stage would be one of the many stages or phases of assessing your business model. And as it is always, I have to admit, a case-by-case decision, please do apply, and then let's see and take it up from there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Annabelle. So I have another question from Oni Damola. Given Annabelle's explanation, if we have received equity funding of less than 2 million euros and we have grants of over 100,000 in the last 6 months, do we qualify?
If the two of them in total, it's less than 2 million, then you qualify. And I would also say that for us, what has been raised cumulatively is what we are looking at when we say 2 million. So grants, debt, and equity. So far, you've not hit the 2 million cap, you qualify. Once you've hit the 2 million cap, unfortunately, you do not qualify, as we would consider you old and far gone in your process in building organization to qualify from this grant.
Okay. So there's another question here. Please hold on. I am based in South Africa, and I saw you indicated the program is available in my country. What channels do I follow?
Thanks for flagging that. Currently, if you can be able to see where the Nigerian application portal is, definitely in that portal too, there is also the South African portion. So we've done it in a way that South Africa and Nigeria are paired, but as you also are filling your information, you would definitely be able to put it appropriately under the South African part of it. So you are in the right place. What you have here is that we are working with Ventures Park as our local partner in Nigeria. And then we also have Josie Angels as our local partner for South Africa. Josie Angels will be doing their webinar for South Africa, and it would be great if you can also tune in for that one, because that will be more specific to your questions, and also we can also be sure to guide you as regards supporting you to be able to go through the process. So that's what I would say for you, that you are South African, but you are here by maybe just interest or whatnot.
And Ayo, maybe we can even share the dates for the South Africa webinar here in the chat, so that applicants who somehow managed to join this meeting will also get a chance to have the country-specific webinar, because I think there are even some country specifics for South Africa, right? That are important for South African applicants.
Yeah, I would share you the day and the time on the chat, and then I'll try to find the link to also drop that there. Thank you for that.
Thanks a lot.
All right. We have another question from Silas. Does having a signed MOU for equity funding and a signed contract for grant funding qualify for partial qualification?
What I would say is MOU is not a safe. A safe is an indication of investment, and we also do not invest against a safe. We invest against, or we disburse capital against money that has already been confirmed in your bank. So for us, it's great you're on that conversation. You have in MOUs, that means you are definitely having some good level of traction and interest, but you also need to convert that MOU to cash in the bank. And then when you have that, we can definitely sure to find that as a matching funds, as the case may be. I don't know if I missed part 2 of the question.
Okay, I think there's a question that probably Jenny skipped here. Someone said, Imamoke said, what qualifies as first annual financial statement? Does this have to be audited by a third party?
Thanks for that. I will want to take that one, and then we can chime in on that one too. It's what qualifies as financial statements is we believe companies should at least have done a year of operations, and that means that they already have a financial year aggregation of their financial position as a business. So what qualifies for audited statement, as the word would be an independent financial organization review the documentations you present to be the financial standing of your business. And yes, we would prefer an auditor does it, as it definitely help review the business from an independent and regulatory standpoint across your financial standing as a business. Annabelle, you want to chime in?
No, I'm fine.
Cool. Yeah, I think definitely we are quite far going in the process. Do you have more questions?
I think I'm done with the questions in the chat box, but
Okay.
maybe if anybody has any other question that might like to ask, they can unmute themselves and ask now.
Okay. How many more minutes do we have for that part?
So we have about 2 minutes, but maybe we can just push it to 3-4 minutes. Can we do that, Annabelle? Okay, yeah. So please, if you have any question, kindly just raise your hand, then unmute yourself.
I can see a question here from Temi Lulua. Is it a grant, debt, or equity arrangement? Is this?
Thanks for that. I think the key word to say this is a matching funds arrangement. And what that means is this capital is disbursed against the capital you've raised. So fight more than 100K in the last 6 months, we are not collecting the money back. So it is not debt. Also, we are working with you on this capital to help scale your business. So it is not an outright grant that we do not have purview over how the capital is definitely spent. And equity investment, no, because we do not own any percentage of your business moving forward, even after the grant has been disbursed. So that's how it qualifies. The tag word to use is this is a matching fund.
Okay, I have a question. Can I go ahead, please?
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. You've touched on one of the things I was going to ask, which is around what will be after getting the grant, what will be the requirements, the fulfillment requirements? I think you've touched on one angle, which is the fact that there will be some oversight. The other question is, are there areas of business or of operations that the grant cannot be spent on? Are there areas of operation or business growth that the grant cannot be expended on? And secondly, okay, I think I'll keep at that. I think that's fine, fair enough.
Okay. Yeah. To say it's. Oh, Annabelle, do you want to go for it?
Sorry, I did not get the entire question, so I would need to, maybe someone could repeat it for me.
Yes.
Person who just raised the question.
Are there areas of operation or business growth that you cannot expend the grant on? Are there restrictions to spend, if you meet all the criteria and you get awarded, are there restrictions on how you can use the fund?
Oh, okay, now I get it. Good question. Well, let me think a minute. Well, let's say, I think first of all, it has to be very clear that it is on the growth of for your operations. I think one thing that we would not fund is the construction, for example, of new buildings, and also purchase of land. If this is something your company is looking or thinking of doing, this is something we could not fund. Also, when it comes to, I don't know, very specifically, for example, the purchase of, I don't know, fertilizer or pharmaceuticals or medicaments like drugs. So it's very, let's say, specific. Yeah, I think that is, let's say, in a more broader sense, what I can reply on that question for now. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thanks, Annabelle. Thanks, Ayo.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions? Because we're done. We've come to the end of the program, the end of the webinar. Maybe I can just take one more question. No, Toby, do you want to ask a question? No. Okay. So thank you everyone for being part of this amazing webinar. Remember, like I said, throughout the webinar session, we're here, we're open. While you're applying for this, please make sure that if you have any issues or challenges or any blockers, right, that you go straight, and let me go back to the contacts. Yes, and these contacts will be shared with you. Also, someone asked around the presentation. Yes, we will share with you presentation, and also these questions, recording with all the questions and answers and everything will be shared with you, just so you know some of the questions that you have had and the answers that were answered or that were given, just in case you still have some concerns, right? I wish everyone well. And I hope that we see you at the other side, okay? Thank you, Annabelle, for joining us. Thank you, Ayo, also for joining us. And thank you to everyone who also has made time and asked questions and was just made this webinar a great time. I'd like to thank my team, Jennifer, Chiamaka, Toyin, and every other person who has worked behind closed doors to make sure that this webinar was a success. Thank you, and bye, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you, Tracy. And thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, Annabelle.
Bye, everyone.
Person they are giving, and the grants is euros. Inquisibido by 2. And I don't know.